Nelson, thank you so much for giving us your time today. I know it's so precious and valuable.
Thank you.
This series that we're doing is all career driven. Typically junior achievement goes into the classroom with a volunteer, but because of our current circumstances, we're pivoting a little, and this involves that change. So we have decided to take high-profile, successful business professionals from in Amarillo, not outside of, and put them in front of our students. Normally, it would be difficult for you to volunteer into the classroom, so this just presented a great opportunity for us to do what normally we probably wouldn't have been able to do.
It's a great idea. I love the idea.
Thank you. So, first of all, kind of what I'd like to hear from you is a little bit of your backstory. What brought you here? What set you up for success here? Kind of some of your previous jobs. If you just kind of run us through how you landed here.
So I grew up in a small town about an hour and a half from here, Spearman.
Oh, yeah.
And so Amarillo has always been my home city, even though I didn't move here until I was about 26 years old. So my first job here was with the Underwood Law Firm, and I had lots of good mentors there. And made lots of mistakes, and learned lots of good lessons with people who were willing to coach and mentor and teach me. And so my husband, I married someone from Spearman, and we chose Amarillo because it was close to home. And we love the people here in the Texas Panhandle. We love the values here in the Texas Panhandle. We didn't want to be far away from that. So we chose Amarillo, and we've been here now over 25 years and have had fabulous experiences. Both of us started in law firms, and people taught us and coached us, and then my husband and I are entrepreneurial. We like to have our hands in different things, so we've owned different businesses. We have a law firm, we own a hotel, we own an office building where we lease space to tenants. So there's lots of different things that we have our hands in, and keeps it exciting, sometimes stressful, but as long as you have a mindset to keep learning new things, we've enjoyed doing that together, and Amarillo's been a great place to own and operate our own businesses.
I agree. My husband and I have been here for 12 years, and this is home. I can't imagine being anywhere else. So what created a desire in you to have a life of service? Because that's exactly what this is. It's service. So where did that come from?
Faith is really important to my husband and I, and so we're committed to praying for the city, and we have been for many years, and just in praying over some of the things that the city was struggling with 6 or 7 years ago, we both just felt more of an urge or a draw or a calling to step in and serve, and it's hard. Nobody wants to step in and serve, but certainly to serve in politics is not something that we culturally respect much. I mean, and I understand why. There's a lot of emotion attached to it, and so it wasn't something that I ever aspired to do, or that my husband would even tell you that either one of us ever saw as being on the radar. But hopefully we have done it in a way that pleases God. That's a very important thing to us, and so we'll just keep serving and keep asking God for grace in the places that we make mistakes or drop the ball, and hopefully
He'll bless that.
Hopefully He'll bless that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, your heart beats like mine. So do you remember the first job you ever had?
Yes, I do actually. Both my parents owned their own businesses, and so I, as a young child, worked in my mom's retail business. She owned a retail business for about 30 years.
Wow.
And so that just meant, waiting on customers and cleaning the store, everything from cleaning the bathroom to vacuuming and washing the windows, unpacking it was a clothing store, so unpacking clothes and marking those, and just all the things it takes to own your own small business there. I watched my mom do that for years and years and years, and then I watched her come home and cook dinner and do laundry, and she really had two jobs all along. Yeah. So She came from an era where women could work outside of the home, but they were really still expected to do everything at home. And so her choice to own her own business meant that she had very little free time.
Sacrifice.
She sacrificed.
So what lessons would you say you took away from that?
Hard work. I think that's a very Texas Panhandle thing. My husband grew up in a farm family. His mom also owned a retail store, but she was a teacher too. And his dad was a farmer rancher and a real estate appraiser. So just right there, I just named off 5 things that their family did in order to make ends meet. And my family was very similar. I mean, we had multiple things going in order to make ends meet. And so just family first, God first, then family, then hard work really were the things that were modeled for both of us growing up. And we've just continued to go along that track. And I think God honors that. And He does honor hard work. Doesn't mean perfect work, because you will make mistakes. And but just the commitment to following through on doing what you said you were going to do is very important.
That is so signature Panhandle. It's grit.
It is, yeah.
I love that word to describe the Panhandle. It's grit. So did you have any career interests in middle or high school? Because you're talking to middle and high school students today.
Yeah.
So did you have any then that you could see carried over into today?
What I love about today's opportunities for middle and high school kids are that they can see anybody's dream. And I once heard someone say that it's hard for a kid to dream a dream they haven't been exposed to. And so when I look at where I grew up in the Texas Panhandle without the internet and with only 3 channels on TV, it was harder to see a different kind of dream. And so I would say to students today, feel free to see someone else's dream, take it, mash around on it, keep parts, throw parts away, build your own dream off of what you can see other people doing. And I do like the idea that your dream should be way bigger than you can ever accomplish. And we talk about this a lot in our family, that if what you're doing feels comfortable, then you're doing it in your power and you're not having to rely on God to do it. So it needs to feel uncomfortable. And that's one of the things, one of my mentors at the Underwood Law Firm, my first real job, my first professional job, told me, I asked him, I said, when do you feel like you know what you're doing as a lawyer? And he said, oh, never. You just get used to the feeling that you can go and find the answer. You don't know the answer, you can go and find the answer. And that feeling of discomfort that comes with not knowing the answer and having to, yes, exactly. And so I think that's very important for students to realize that you can have a dream without knowing all the steps to get there, and your dream should be big enough that it makes you uncomfortable.
Oh, I love that. And that is so relevant too. Our kids have access to so much information. When we were coming up, it was a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher. I mean, those were kind of the paths set before us. And so it's so interesting to see our kids today. I tell our kids, the world is your oyster. Dream so big because it's achievable. It's just shoot for the moon.
It is achievable, and don't talk yourself out because you think, well, I might not get that. That's right. You might get something better.
That's right.
And so I think about regrets that I have. Most of my regrets are that I didn't try something. I have very few regrets where I actually tried it and I regret trying.
Right.
So a lot of my just fear of failure, or fear of not doing it perfectly, or fear of having to listen to somebody coach you to do it better next time, I think kept me back from doing some of the things that I had as dreams. And so I'm about to be 50, and I would tell my 15-year-old self, man, just chuck all that. Do what you want to do and give yourself the freedom to do it, making mistakes all along the way, knowing that your identity is not tied to those mistakes, but your adventure is. Yes.
Who you evolve, who you become,
yes,
who you touch, and the lives you affect along the way.
Yeah, and it's just like in first grade, school might have felt overwhelming. By the time you got to fourth grade, you go, I got this elementary school down. Fifth grade, guess what? It feels overwhelming again, doesn't it? Until eighth grade, you're like, no, what? That was no big deal. And by the time you're a freshman, you're like, middle school. Come on now. Well, this is life. That progression of constant something new, and then you accomplish a comfort level with it, and then you move on to the next level. So a high schooler would look back at that first grader and say, go for
That's
it.
right.
Because he can tell that by the time you're a fourth grader, you're going to have it down.
Yeah.
And so just giving yourself that confidence from the start of whatever you're doing, it's a mindset.
Just
you
do
just
it.
have to do it.
The Nike signal, the Nike symbol is so relevant. Just do it.
Just
like
do
I told
it.
my kids that. Just do it. Like you want to run for student council at a new
Just
school,
do
it's
it.
scary, but just do it.
Right.
Like, what's good? What's the difference? What's gonna?
Yeah.
It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna. It's gonna make you better. There's,
Yeah.
those are a lot of our same. We have those conversations in my
Yeah.
home. So
Those are good conversations.
they are. How old is your oldest?
Our daughter just turned 22. Her birthday was just a few
22.
days ago.
So I'm going to ask a question that's going to be relevant to you. I asked Pat yesterday, and he was like, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of experience with that generation. So I'll ask you one that would be good to hear your answer. So tell me, what does your typical work day look like as our mayor? Just
as the
an
mayor.
average day.
There is no average day. That's the most important thing I think to say about it. Every day is different. It is full of meetings, and whether we're in a COVID season and those meetings are happening on Zoom, or whether we're not in a COVID season and I'm dashing from place to place to place, it's very full of people, because the problems that are sitting out in our community are all attached to people, and the solutions for those problems are all attached to people. And they pretty much coexist. It's just sometimes one doesn't know about the other. And so really the job of mayor is to intently listen to people as they're sharing their problems. Maybe they're just sharing a problem they have and they don't see it as a citywide problem or a problem that somebody else could help with, but just being able to listen and connect all of those different pieces of information is really what the job of mayor comes down to. And so it comes down to spending time with people, investing in people, and recognizing that, you know, our city mission is to create a city where every resident can achieve their potential for greatness. Well, that means listening to people's ideas and their dreams and their struggles and the barriers that are there that are keeping them from their dreams and their ideas and their solutions. And so really the mayor is sort of the center of the wheel where all
connect
of
the
those
dots.
things come through. Yes.
I've never heard it explained that way. Okay, so meetings and people.
Meetings and people, and then the mayor connects the city to other things. Like, you know, I connect the city of Amarillo to the governor's office, and I connect them to the West Texas Mayor's Coalition, where the entire region of West Texas takes challenges, issues, solutions that we have as rural West Texans, and we work together through Austin to make solutions happen for our whole region. So again, the job of the mayor is just really a hub of information. And sometimes you're pushing information, like we needed a vet school here in Amarillo, and that was a whole lot of, I was doing a lot of the pushing for information down in Austin and across the state. But either way, it's about connecting with people. It's about listening to the needs of our city, and those come from people. And then it's about connecting them to solutions.
That's incredible. You do a great job.
Oh, well, thank you.
So you answered one of my questions. If you could give your 18-year-old self any piece of advice,
Take more risks.
the same? Take
Yeah,
more risks.
take more risks. And I don't mean risks like getting in a car with somebody who's been drinking, or
Right.
not
Jumping
those
off the
kind
water
of
tower.
risks.
Don't do it.
Not those, right. I mean the kind that are attached to a dream or attached to a something. When I was a freshman in college, my roommate was an athlete at Texas Tech, and now she's the head women's basketball coach
Wow.
at Texas Tech University. But I remember she made a list of goals that she had for herself that year, and she handed them to me. She said, "What do you think?" And I remember handing them back to her and saying, "These are great. They're awesome." And in my mind, I thought, "No way! These are so big. I don't even know that you'll get one of them done." But you know what? She didn't get all of them done. She did get a lot of them done, including winning the national championship.
Wow.
So because that was on her list,
Right.
it was something
To
she
strive for.
actually had permission to go for. And just if she hadn't gotten it, doesn't mean that her effort wasn't valuable. But because she targeted herself, she gave herself permission to dream, which means she also had to have permission to fail. It was just really powerful. That moment taught me a lot about what you're willing to put on the line in order to do good things, to do things that have an impact, not to build your own name, but hopefully to build God's name,
A platform.
and most importantly, to serve other people, to make an impact in their lives, so that when people come along behind you, my grandmother always used to say, I want you to leave it better than you found it. And I think that's part of leaving the world, whether it's the city or your school or the Girl Scouts or whatever organization, the band, whatever organization you're in, leave it better than you found it. You have to do something of value that you added, and it leaves an impact for people to come behind you and enjoy.
Much wisdom. I shoot for the moon and you land among the stars.
Yeah,
And
right.
in that too is when you put your goals out there. I love that she gave her goal list to you, because then she gave them life.
She
They weren't
did.
just something that she held close to herself. I think there's so much power in saying things out loud. And so when you create your goals, you should tell somebody, that, because there's accountability within that. So I love that. That in itself was, there's some
But she
wisdom
had
in
to
that.
trust me,
That's
and I
right.
had to not make fun of her goals,
Right.
or I had to hold her accountable, but in a way that was constructive and edifying.
And build her up.
And build
that
her up.
You can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, on to your 22-year-old daughter. So, I hear from employers, I meet with a lot of different businesses in Amarillo, and I work with a lot of, because I put their business professionals into the classroom to volunteer. So, we do a lot of roundtable discussions in that. And one of the things I hear a lot of is, we would like Junior Achievement to go into the classroom and teach kids this, because they're lacking here. So this generation is very different. They are just an entirely different breed. And I have to attend seminars on how to work with them as volunteers and how to train them. They're different. I also see a lot of good in them. Can you kind of say to this generation, you're talking to a lot of them, tell me where you think they shine, where you think they're great, and then tell me where you think they could improve.
Well, I think you shine in expecting yourself to actually have an impact. Like, you don't just go through the motions because that's how your grandmother did it and that's how your parents did it. You actually are just saying, well, I don't see value in that. I'm not doing it. And so I like that already I see you attaching value to your time and your energy, because they're limited resources. You don't have unlimited time and energy. So what you're doing should be of value. And I think it's great that I see many of you on the threshold asking, well, is this valuable? Is this going to have an impact? So I think you really shine in that moment. I guess I want to say, and I really won't even point this to that generation. I'm going to point it to all of us, because right now something I think we're struggling at is living life with kindness toward people that we don't agree with. And so I think just being insecure in who we are makes us immediately want to make a villain out of somebody that disagrees or has a different idea or different perspective than we have. And I think that is a very dangerous thing. It ends up destroying all of us when we can't come together and show respect and show kindness. And so whether we've created that for you guys, or whether you guys are ginning that up through social media and some other methods of communicating, where you're not viewing this person as a person, you're viewing them as a target.
Right.
And by almost like a video game. The more of this the more of the people you can take down as targets, then the stronger or the better you are as a person.
false.
And that's false. So I think that's something we have to fight against, and I want to encourage you guys in the classrooms, change that. It does not have to be that way, and it needs to change with kindness, and it needs to change with respect. And truly, a word we don't talk enough about is honor. And that doesn't mean I view myself as more important than someone else. It's the flip side. One of my favorite Bible verses is outdo one another in showing honor. And so I think if I can honor you, Dana, then, and I can honor Samuel, who's helping us with the camera today, and I can outdo, like, if that's the contest, is how I can show you
Imagine
honor.
the shift.
Yeah, imagine the shift. So
Prefer
I
one
love
another.
I love that they're looking for value and how to have an impact. And then I would just challenge them to say, first off, make sure you outdo one another in showing each other honor. And kindness and respect are all woven in there too. But we have to treat each other as people. And we have to recognize that everybody's ideas matter, even when they're different, or I strongly disagree with the idea. It doesn't mean I have to make a villain out of the person that's talking about it.
Doesn't devalue your humanity. I think that we do. We
Yeah.
are doing a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that as well. So, okay, we are talking to a lot of future employees right now, employers.
Sure.
When you're hiring, what are some of the chief components that you look for? And whether you're hiring for a new CEO, yesterday we spoke with some CEOs, a new CEO, or whether you're hiring for a secretarial position, what are some of the things that are most important to you?
I want somebody who tells the truth. So if you make a mistake, just own it. Ask for coaching to do it better next time. But I need somebody who owns their job. They own the good parts about it, and they own the bad parts about it too, and they're working on the bad parts. So telling the truth is really important to me. That was something else I was going to say. Telling the truth. Oh, being a problem solver. So if I give you a checklist and I say, I need you to get these 5 things done today, but in the midst of doing all of that, you uncover 2 or 3 other things. If you're not a self-starter and you don't solve those as well, or at least bring them to my attention so we as a team can work on them together, that's not helpful.
Right.
So being a truth teller and being a problem solver, which means you have to have your eyes open, you're looking for problems, and then you have to be willing to invest your solutions in them, even if you bring it back around to me and I say, well, that's not how I would have solved it, and we coach, and I say I would solve it like this next time. You stuck yourself out there. You saw a problem and you tried to solve it. So being a truth teller and being a problem solver are very important characteristics to me. And those are just good life skills.
Yes.
Those are going to be good for you guys as parents. Those are going to be good for you guys as spouses. Yes. So, and people want to be around people that are truth tellers and that are problem solvers. So it's another way of showing honor to each other. I honor you enough that I will tell you the truth even when it's hard to say, or even when it reflects on a choice that I made and it reflects poorly on me. I'm still going to tell you the truth about it, and I'm still going to be watching out for problems, and some of them will be your problems that I'm watching out for. So I just think it's a good road to being a good citizen, is to be a truth teller and to be a problem solver.
Absolutely, taking the initiative with your problem solving.
Yeah, right. You won't have all the answers. It's back to what that mentoring
right.
lawyer told me. You won't have all the answers, so you'll get things wrong. You'll throw out solutions that weren't the best choice. That's okay, but you were trying.
You made the effort.
You made the effort.
So, what is the biggest piece of advice or 2 that you would give a student that might be interested in a life of service, be it a city councilman or really in the political arena?
Yeah.
What would you?
I think one of the things I have learned the most is that I don't rely on words of affirmation from other people to keep me going. So one of the things that we say at our house, and I don't know who came up with this quote, it was not us, we read it or got it somewhere, But the quote is that you will be baptized by criticism so that you'll be inoculated against praise.
Oh.
And that is, the criticism is hard to hear, and a lot of times it's not true. It's, based on someone's perception and they don't have the facts right. But the flip side is, you can't always just be chasing the likes and the affirmation, because that's just as unfulfilling and dangerous. Yes. So one of the things on this wall I keep is a sign that says, anybody but Ginger Nelson for mayor. And I remember where I was when I saw that sign, and I asked the person, the owner, if I could have it. They said yes. And I keep it in here because it reminds me that I'm doing this work because the Lord called me to do it. So I'm not doing it for the accolades, and I'm not doing it in response to criticism. I'm just on that middle road of trying to obey what I think the Lord is asking me to do. So I would just pass that on. I think having a plan for criticism is a really important life skill. And you've got to be willing to take some risks and get some criticism to see if your plan is working. My plan is to know that my identity is secure because God made me in His image and He loves me. And so whether people like me or whether people are not liking me that day doesn't really matter. And I think as far as public servants are concerned, there will, no matter what the decision is, there will be people on both camps. There will be people on both sides.
We're always going to have opinions.
Yes. So as far as public service is concerned, you just have to be grounded in knowing why you're doing it. Because sometimes the fire will be hot, the criticism will be intense, the scrutiny will be unfair, and through it all, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trusting the Lord that, hey, you're walking on the path that He put you on.
So everything that you've said today comes back to faith, grounded and rooted in faith.
Yeah.
Because without that, we're lost.
For me, it definitely does. Yeah, rooted and grounded in my trust in that God has my back and He has my future secure. There's nothing I can do today that will make Him love me any more or any less.
And therein, in that lies your identity.
Yes, that's right. And so because I know my identity is secure, I'm free to go out and try new things and completely fall flat on my face, or maybe I swing and hit a home run, and the whole team benefits
And end up
from
our
it.
mayor.
Yeah, exactly. So
Because that's huge.
yeah, it's good. So I have to pep talk myself on that sometimes too, because all of us let doubt creep in our mind. But
Did you ever imagine you would be sitting here?
no, oh heavens, no. And my high school friends and my parents and my siblings, they all like, who knew? I'm like, oh no, not me.
Were you interested in politics?
Yeah, no.
Did
not
they
at
ever
all.
stir you?
Not at all.
Did you watch the news a lot?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, I would say I was an average informed citizen. And then some things started happening in our city that just scared me, really. We had a headline that said we were the most dysfunctional city in the nation. That was just about 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
And I thought, that's not who we are. And that I believe that God can deliver us better. And so just in praying, really praying for blessings on our city, and then just careful what you pray for, or God will put you in a position to be His instrument in bringing it
There's
about.
no better place to be.
Well,
no safer
I totally
place.
agree. I mean, I'm joking about that, but
We're blessed
no,
to
this
have you.
was never on our radar screen.
It's crazy. So, last question, and we'll wrap up and let
Sure.
you get back to what I know is big work. But so, in this audience today, you have got middle schoolers and high schoolers from all different districts within the Panhandle. If you could give them, and I think you've given a lot of it, but I'm going to ask anyway, if you could give one piece of life advice, career advice, what would it be?
Learn to receive criticism well, because not all criticism is about you. And one of the things that we tell our kids a lot is, if somebody gives you a warning, they're giving it to you out of compassion. And so none of us like to get called down or corrected, But if you'll just open your mind and shift it just a little differently, the thing that adult person or the thing that older student is coaching you on in the moment, even if their tone isn't showing you respect or honor, they're doing it out of compassion for you. They want you to get to a better place. They want you to have more opportunities. They would like for you to be able to catch that pass in the end zone or whatever, whatever the setting is.
Right.
So I think just realizing that other people want to help, even if sometimes our tone is not right or we didn't choose the words that you felt honored by, it still came, the warning we were giving you, the coaching we were giving you came from a place of compassion. So learn to receive criticism.
That's huge. And just that one piece of advice for the climate that we're living in right now
Yes.
could totally change the conversation. So I appreciate your time.
Oh, Dana,
I appreciate what you do for
it.
our city.
This is a great idea.
So
Thank you,
I
Dana.
thank you again.
Yeah.
You have a blessed day.
Okay, thank you very much.